Hello again, fans of the greatest road car ever made, the Mclaren F1. So in here we have quite a bit of a surprise to me. I just bought this because it was orange, and I always knew about the orange Mclaren F1s, but this is an actual story. I read this label, and it says Yquem, or Yquem? I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. But anyways, there's a whole article written about this car. So let me focus on this text for you, and you can read that. So this is chassis number 75, and that apparently is the very last of the road legal cars that were made of the 106 McLaren F1s, supposedly. This is written by a gentleman, Sammy Altonen, so thank you. I assume that's a gentleman, if not a woman, or apparently there's a third gender or whatever. I don't know what's going on with that whole thing. It's not my thing. Alright, so let's get this thing open. This is left the factory in 98 and went to Mansour OJ's brother. So I don't know what that family is, but according to this article, it still belongs there. So the color here is named after some wine that changes color as it gets older. So that's interesting. There are other orange McLarens, but they're not quite this orange, according to this. They're called Volcano Orange. Let's see here. It does have an orange steering wheel top and a wooden gear shift knob. And Lewis Hamilton did borrow it one time, so that's interesting. Lewis Hamilton does own one of these. I think he paid $18 million for his McLaren F1. Okay, so I did find a couple more images. So here's a rear view. This is perhaps this tour or possibly the same owner. You know, we're talking some big money here. So there we are. What is this image? In front of a jet plane. Maybe this owner owns jet planes while they're at it. Here's the original steering wheel and the wooden shift knob, which I'll be impressed if they're in this model. And then, oh, that's the same thing. So back to this website here. There's a whole bunch of images if you want to look this up. It looks like it has a black gas cap. Yeah. Okay, well, that's what we have. Let's get into this model here. Windows 11. I hate how you can't move the taskbar. It's always on the bottom. Always annoying me. So the acrylic base, polished edges, super smooth. Like, they're crystal clear. I mean, that's almost no distortion. There's no distortion almost. As I say that, it's distorted. Okay. But I mean, you can see my finger through the length of it. 2 screws. They're stainless, so they're not going to rust. The metal plate here has F1 etched away, and then whatever that YQUEM is. And then this is number 15 of 299. Okay. Let's start with the wheel here. Let me zoom in 4 times, so it's kind of like an 18 scale model now. Oh, those tread blocks. Not cool. MY64, come on. How can you look at the photos and say that's a road tire? It's not a rally tire, but it's not a truck tire, but you just don't see knobbies like that on the side of tires. Not hypercar tires. Alright, well, the wheels do look good, although, no, maybe they don't. I almost feel like that wheel isn't a circle. I think it was squished too much. This is not cool. I gotta relieve some tension in the front, and hopefully that thing will become circular again. Well, no, I think it's too late. Just gonna lightly compress it back. Yeah. Well, that's a real shame. I don't think that's a circle. I think it's cracked right there, and I think it's squished. Yeah, that's not good. I can't really return it. You know, it's not the fault of the seller. It's the fault of the assembler at the factory. Right? So, I mean, that looks a little better. I almost feel like that's an oval right there as well. So, real shame. So even these expensive resins, you're going to have problems because they're handmade. You got people that don't get paid anything putting these together. And a lot of times they've probably never even seen a car. So the center knockoff though is gold, so that's nice. I don't know. I think there might be air passing between those spokes there. If there is, well, there's too much paint in that one, but it's black in there. The brake rotor has some, fine cross drilling, so that could be a photo etched piece of metal. Now the brake caliper is very well done. It's very three-dimensional, and then you have red text, so I have to assume that says Brembo. I don't think it's legible, but it's nice that you have some text there, or what's mimicking text. So that's good. Oh, that wheel's such an eyesore. Okay, so the side dot here. Oh, sorry, I had a cough there. So it sounded a little weird. Okay, gotta clear my throat. Yeah, I think that's in a dimple. So that looks, I think they put those dimples in there maybe to make it locate in the right location. Whereas if it was perfectly smooth, it might end up over here or down there or something. So that's a smart thing. The vent, I think, well, I don't know if this is really deep in there or if there's literally black inserts. I think there are literally black inserts way in there. Unfortunately, I don't have 3 hands. I can't. Hold on, I gotta. Now I hit focus. Well, that's actually unexpected. That's pretty impressive. They would go through the effort of adding those black details way down in there. Okay, well, that's MY64 for you. Panel cuts are pretty thin, being a resin body. We have the door mechanism there. Maybe it's a push button, maybe it's a lock, I don't know, but looks pretty good. Look at the orange paint. It's so smooth. Look how sharp that edge is. That's my square LED up above us, right? So that's a smooth paint job. That rear tire is squished up. These are not going to roll, especially with an ovoid wheel, especially a crushed wheel. So that's unfortunate. The side mirror has a reflector in it, so it's literally reflecting the window, and now the door, a little bit of both. The side windows themselves have a photo etched piece of metal on them, painted black, so that's very good. Then up front, we have things that look like headlights. It looks like there's a light bulb in the middle of them. It looks like it's a cone, but then there's a domed resin on it, so it looks like a sealed light. Very impressive. This blackout printing on probably the back side of these lens covers, and then there's not well, you can definitely see some glue residue. This side's really nice. This one's a little bit askew. McLaren badge is centered, but what is going on with it? It almost looks like it's narrower than the groove. Like it's too narrow. Like that and that should not be there. So I don't know what happened there. It's like I don't know if this is just a faulty badge or if they literally designed the badge way too small for the groove it's supposed to sit in. It's not good. Okay. Well, we got some splitters here. Some photo etch pieces there. Maybe a photo etch piece there again. A little bit of black in that vent is great. That's a super wiper blade. I mean, it's photo etched. You can see the 2 arms. But you can actually see like this carbon fiber downforce wing for the wiper blade, and yet the blade is also perpendicular to the windscreen. That is one of the best wiper blades I've ever seen in this hobby. Door hinges, I don't know if those should be painted black or not. You just saw me wobble that. That's alarming. This side's rigid, so that's not much glue holding that mirror in there. So it's not advised to actually open and touch these resin models. This one is also offset, this wheel. I don't think it's centered. Like the axis should be maybe over here instead of back here. A lot of assembly problems here. Some black paint or something going on the bottom edge. A little jacking up point or something. That looks okay. So the fuel filler here on this, you know what? I almost feel like they might have put black paint in there like the real one. Yeah, I think they did paint it black, so they paid attention to the photographs. Okay, this looks, better, I guess. That still looks a little ovoid, like pinched here. This is the only one that looks like a circle to me, like an actual wheel. Okay, this little faint character line is nice. I wouldn't be surprised if this is painted silver and then this is an orange clear coat, because it looks like there's a lot of depth to the clear coat. There's a little black here painted on. Interesting. The exhaust pipes are black, they're very thin, and they are hollow, so I wouldn't be surprised if those are metal tubes. This is a metal piece here for the grill, some diffuser details, probably the plastic base. Looks like some rivet or screw recesses. Yeah, that is a recess. The pick got in there. You got the tiny reflectors or backup lights and stuff in these corners. And then you got the grill texture next to it and then here as well. So it's not paint. So that's very impressive. The F1 and McLaren badge are okay. And then you have really domed resin taillights, as you can see. And then they are on a photo etch piece with a bunch of squares. So it looks like the Fresneling. It's just that for some reason I see a lot of silver here. So I don't know if this resin is glued on to that silver. It must be. Yeah, because it's not 100% centered. The other three are fine, but yeah, that. So this is rife with problems, sadly, this particular model. The grille is fantastic, though, because the engine is highly detailed based on the silver one I reviewed. And so you can clearly see a lot of the exhaust pipes and all that stuff through that grille. That's why there's no license plate there. They want to show off the openings of the grille. Okay, and also this is a vent as well. You can clearly see the exhaust there, so that's impressive. These are just inserted black pieces, but there's none of that texture that I see in these, so that's kind of weird. You would think there'd be a texture there. So this top vent here, there's a little black paint, which is nice. Black paint in these, which is nice. No, that's an actual metal piece there. Yeah, it's very shiny, so, but here it looks black. Okay, yeah, we saw that again. Now here they do have black paint for the hinges. Yeah, then what the heck, what are these? Does it hinge in 2 points? Maybe it does. Yeah, I don't know. This, we already went over that side, so, alright. I guess that's the whole exterior. Boy, MY64. Historically, you guys were fantastic, but this is the first one where I've complained more than twice, like a bunch of times. So it's a real letdown. Let's go into the interior. So it's nice that you have these photo etch pieces for these, whatever they are on the real thing. I'm not sure. They're airbags? No, that's too far away from the passengers. But it's a two-tone dash, right? The middle is quite matte, and then there's a kind of satin finish. Now we can see the steering wheel. If I could focus, it's like a race steering wheel. It looks like there's a badge in the middle of it. Look at the shift knob. It looks like it's brown, so I think they did mimic the wooden shift knob of the real car. Yeah. Then we got some silver down there, the gate, and then some knobs and switches. So that's probably a photo etch piece that shifter is going through, or glued to. The passenger seat is just black, it looks like. But you can see the center of the driver's seat is red. I don't know if that's paint or a decal. Yeah, it has a shininess to it, so I think that's a decal, but it's fine as long as it doesn't peel up. And so there's some seatbelt buckles there. Perhaps part of the actual decal itself, because I don't see belts wrapping over the edges of the seat. Or do I? Yep, never mind. So the seat belts, there's 2 of them. They're laying on the side bolsters. So that's I've never seen seat belts laid that way. Interesting. But maybe on the real car that's how they lay. And then it looks like the top part of them have some sort of slide lock or something. Alright. And then you can see the 2 rear view mirrors, but they're just photo etch pieces of metal. They're just bent. There's no like depth to them. So that could have been a little more realistic. I've seen more realistic mirrors in other models. Let's see here. Alright, it looks like we might have some silver dials. Yeah, there's some silver paint flanking the instrument pinnacle, and then the instrument pinnacle itself is white gauges. Yeah, with some black numbers or whatnot. Foot pedals on the floor, very impressive, and it looks like they're cross-drilled. Very cool, probably photo etched pieces of metal. Maybe this is, we got a couple more switches to the left side of the driver. Very nice. Passengers don't get much other than a thrill ride. Yeah, it's nice that they got the steering wheel. No, wait, that steering wheel doesn't match the steering wheel in the photos though. Because it's a D-shaped steering wheel, a flat bottom steering wheel, and the top would have that orange. So they missed that. They could have easily added like a swatch of orange paint to the top of the steering wheel. It would have been harder to make a D-shaped steering wheel. That would require a new mold. So not 100% perfect. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh well. There's so much more important stuff that's gone wrong on the outside, so at this point I don't really care. What's interesting is the side passengers do have seatbelts laying down there. Sorry, I've lost focus again. See? You can see like the tongue of the belt. And then the buckles on the inside there. Man, what's going on? I can't... Yep, there's a red buckle right there. Okay. I wish I could lock out the higher settings of this flashlight. The engine should be fantastic based on the silver one I got. So you can see there's literally 3 floating wires here. I don't know what those wires are for or hoses are for, but there's 3 of them. They're suspended in the air. You can also see the rear window here actually has venting right here, so that's pretty cool. There's also window separators underneath this one, which is separating the noise of the engine from the cabin of the passengers and all that stuff. So there's 2 panes of windows there. Then you can clearly see a blue hose, a white hose, or a wire. You can see Mclaren. I think it's upside down though. I kind of feel like that Mclaren might be a decal and it's upside down. There's a line above it. I don't know if that's a piece of metal or a decal. It looks kind of shiny. Could be a piece of metal. That tiny little dot there. Maybe, I don't know if it's paint. But down there, way down there, you can see some like titanium gold headers. 1, 2, 3. There should be 6 of them. Yeah, so that's nice. And over here you can see the headers underneath that blue hose. So I think MY64 is the best detailed engine of any of the 1/64 scale Mclaren F1s. Yeah, okay. I think that's supposed to say BMW V12 power, but yeah, obviously it's kind of hard to read. It's not fully legible. I'm just trying to see the center now. The induction and the stacks. Yeah, it looks like you can see some vertical pipes going into that black box above it, the air filter. So, again, I lost focus. I don't have 3 hands, so it's not easy to do these reviews. Alright, I'm going to pull up 2 others. Here's the silver MY64. So, looking at the wheels, that looks possibly oval. Possibly oval. This one, that looks pretty round. That one looks pretty round as well. It's just a little flash from the tire or something like that there. So in general, I would say these wheels look nice. Just something went wrong with this one. Just got crushed too much. They're very fragile. I wouldn't doubt that they're 3D printed wheels. So here we have the Mclaren F1 LM, which is one of 5 LM spec road going F1s, and that was done by U2. But the U2 simply has much less detail in the engine bay. What is nice is they put an antenna in there. Uh, and then the brakes are way too close to the edges of the wheels, it seems. And it also has chrome exhaust, which I don't think is accurate. I mean, this thing has black exhaust. I would have to imagine this to just have stainless steel exhaust, but not chromed. That's just me. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's still a nice model and all that. At least it doesn't have crushed wheels. But I feel like more effort is done by MY64. This also has a very flat windscreen wiper blade, whereas these are bent perpendicular to the windscreen itself. So that's another thing. This also has some really funky taillights. Let me show you. Unlike the little dots that you saw in the MY64, this has these really large vertical striations, which unfortunately they're just too big to look realistic. The real car photos, this just looks like a orange and red, no pattern whatsoever. So they're trying to, like, I don't know, make them look flashy, but they don't actually look realistic. But I do like it because it has these different wheels that which look cooler than the stock wheels, I think of that. Okay, well, I also feel this interior is nicer because they're white seats. It's just easier to see everything. Let's give you a top view here. Just focus on the middle car here. And let's go with the low angle. And the camera has a hard time focusing on 3 moving objects that are shiny. Alright, let's get these 2 out. You can look up those reviews. Just search my channel. Well, this is the first time I'm complaining about MY64. You know, one problem, that's one thing, but having a crushed wheel, having the knobby tread blocks, although I gotta say, actually, I'm gonna take the tread block thing away because to the naked eye, they're not that bad. It's just under 4 times magnification. I mean, it looks huge. But that crushed wheel, let me see if I can, you know what, hold on, I gotta pause and see if I can look at it with just my own eyes. Oh no, that's definitely not round. That is not round. So that's a big problem. That. Everything else. What about the badge on this? Hold on. Let's look at the badge on the silver one. Oh, see, I think that badge is better. Or is it? You know what? I just couldn't tell. It is narrow. But because it's a silver badge on a silver body, I never complained about it before. So that is actually just a poorly designed badge. Or a poorly designed recess. It's just much too wide. So that's the design problem. Okay, so anyways, execution and design. This is probably the worst MY64 model I have in my collection. It's a real shame. I might have to go track down another orange one now that I know it's such a historic car. Thanks for watching, everyone. Just keep in mind, money doesn't get you perfection. You know, once humans are involved, things go all out of whack. So that's just the way it is. Thank you for your patience, always listening to me complain. I like to do that because I don't want you guys wasting money on stuff that you would consider garbage. This is borderline. That crushed wheel does make it feel like garbage to me. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to sell this off probably and explain that the wheel's a little bit crushed and then take a loss. Maybe I'll even write MY64, but they probably don't even have an email. I'm babbling. I'll see you in the next resin model review. Bye.